We're Team Radiant. This is Raylin, this is Remika, I'm Daniel, this is Ryan, and that's Deccan.
Standing here today, there are exactly 18,121 days until the year 2073. Langley will look and operate very differently from how it does right now. As a result, we at Radiant want to speculate how this future Langley, specifically Willoughby, will differ from our present day. I'll pass it off to Raylin to talk about our first solution.
For our Indigenous perspective, we contacted Fern Gabriel, who is an Indigenous woman from Portland. She feels that the greatest challenges Indigenous peoples face are systemic racism through microaggressions and the loss of language and culture. So in order to combat these problems, we propose on adopting the Hawaiian model. In Hawaii, they have largely revived the local indigenous language there through the use of local plugins and signage. For example, instead of using hi or hello, they use aloha predominantly there. In Willoughby, we intend to do the same thing. By promoting the use of indigenous languages, we hope to reduce stigma and lower the level of systemic racism.
For one of our goals, we've decided to put an emphasis on improving public transportation. Since we're redesigning Willoughby, we want to actually make sure to cater towards the current day residents. So before we started our project, we made sure to survey numerous residents and found that 80% of residents never or almost never use a mode of transportation outside of cars. Furthermore, 70% of residents believe that a new SkyTrain would be highly beneficial. As we all know, SkyTrains have a higher carrying capacity than cars, and that gives them a higher energy efficiency and reduces traffic. And there's already work underway to lay the foundations for a new SkyTrain, so lack of funding will not be of concern. And to encourage wider use of public transport, we also want to facilitate the development of economic facilities and bus lines in the vicinity of a new SkyTrain. Thus, the main focus of our physical model is a SkyTrain.
We also plan to implement hydrogen infrastructure to combat the downsides of electric cars, which are the batteries. First, hydrogen vehicles have much faster refueling times compared to electric vehicles. Another crucial benefit of hydrogen vehicles is their performance consistency in all temperatures. While electric cars may work well in warmer climates such as California, they tend to struggle in colder environments due to the amount of energy wasted on heating and conditioning the batteries. In terms of larger and heavier vehicles, they also are superior as the lighter fuel cells allow for more energy to be stored while keeping under the legal curb weight. We plan to implement this infrastructure through the building of fuel stations throughout our city, as seen in our model. This will allow for consumers to drive hydrogen vehicles, and more importantly, will also serve as a base for the upper level government to implement public transport that is based on hydrogen, like hydrogen buses.
Now our next solution, we will be focusing on cleaner sources of energy. Introducing algae walls, a solution that will create much needed renewable energy as well as improved air quality. You may have noticed in our model that there are these green stickers on the sides of some of the buildings. So these are actually algae panels. They're used to represent that. And here in this solution, we will be introducing that. On this slide is a picture of a 5-story tall building in Hamburg, Germany, which is, believe it or not, completely dependent on the algae growing on the sides. This building was unveiled in 2013, making it the world's first bioreactive building that generates renewable energy from algae biomass. So how exactly does it work? Well, biomass is energy produced by living or once living organisms. The biomass produced by the building site is moved in a closed-loop system that transports the energy to the harvesting site. There, the biomass is harvested through multiple ways, and the energy produced will then be used to power up the building. These algae aren't just limited to producing energy as well. This picture here shows a structure that uses algae to capture sunlight energy to convert into that takes in carbon dioxide to convert into clean oxygen, a process called photosynthesis, which is what all plants generally do, right? Except each of these algae curtain drapes can absorb up to the same amount of carbon dioxide as 20 trees. So, by combining these building and curtain structures into panels of self-sustaining air filtering technology, we can implement these in public and government infrastructures along with new homes in Willoughby. While it's important to note that panels are not intended to replace trees, it's also important to acknowledge that Willoughby's suburban environment is slowly being dominated by more buildings due to its rapidly growing population. While focusing on preserving the environment we still have, we will be able to replenish lost air quicker, which through the usage of these algae. However, every solution comes with its limitations. Due to constraints of technology during the late 1900s, the US Department of Energy didn't commercialize algae even after 16 years of research. They deemed it not possible for their near future due to the high cost of algae biomass and its harvesting and its low yield of energy. But now, over 100 years later, the research of algae has grown in popularity, and many research and business groups are developing ways to produce cheaper algae biomass production and improve energy yield through selective breeding. This makes it very possible for our future. Now on to Ramakat to wrap everything up.
In conclusion, through an improved incorporation of Indigenous language and culture through local parlance and signage, the implementation of a SkyTrain accessibility to allow Willoughby citizens to reach other cities, the implementation of initial hydrogen infrastructure that upper-level governments can build on for public transport and other implementations, and the incorporation of algae walls on our buildings to help tackle our CO2 emissions and improve our energy usage. Future Langley will be far more efficient, eco-friendly, and inclusive of Indigenous language and culture, and it'll help us tackle our main environmental priority of reducing unnecessary carbon emissions produced by citizens, commercialization, and industrialization in future Willoughby. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and we are now open to any questions.